Hi everyone, welcome back to Chaos Head. And I'm going to start it off by doing something extremely bad when that's playing. I'm going to take a sip. Ah, Indian tonic. Ever since the city suffered through ever since the city suffered through a magnitude 5 earthquake, the air in Shibuya had turned savage. Shibuya's public order was visibly worsening, and it didn't end merely with brawls between young people. The situation included an explosive surge in theft. The mass media frequently used the words "new generation" to fan the flames of people's sense of danger and enclosure, which in response led to phenomena like certain stores suddenly calling off business. Additionally, the demonstrators who had been marching under the banner of anti-New Gen once per week suddenly caused a riot and rushed the Shibuya Police Department. Over 100 arrests resulted from their clash with the police force. As has happened during the commotion about the Esper boy, several thousand rubberneckers gathered to enjoy the festival. The difference in mood between those who were simply visiting Shibuya and those who lived there grew striking. The former anticipated even greater idiocy and chaos. The latter lamented Shibuya's shift toward lawlessness and advocated giving the police greater freedom to act. The sixth New Gen case occurred as though to mock this chain of disturbances. Naturally, the culprit remained at large. A week had passed since the beginning. Whoa, those are some loud birds. Damn. Okay, a week had passed since the day of the earthquake. I'd been suspended from school all the while. Even if they hadn't suspended me, I wouldn't have been emotionally equipped to go to school. Another New Gen incident occurred the day after the earthquake, like the time when Dr. Takashina was killed. Its content made it clear that it was some kind of message aimed at me. A woman who had devoured her own right hand. That secretly signified Nanami's severed right hand, no doubt about it. The thing about Nanami had just been Shogun fishing me, but I went cold when I entertained the thought that maybe she'd really been the one to die. And I'd become famous in Shibuya in the worst sense of the word, which made me more afraid than ever before to venture outdoors. If there were a hole, I wanted to crawl inside. There were days when I went without eating, because even going shopping at the convenience store was agonizing. I couldn't hold my head up and walk outside. I constantly had a feeling that someone was laughing at me. Other people's gazes scared me. I didn't want to meet anyone. People who seemed like they were from the media frequently dropped by, but I ignored all of them. I hadn't contacted my parents or spoken to Nanami. I held back on playing NCO as well. There wouldn't be anything worse than if it leaked out that I was Nightheart. 1 week. Was this brief period of time too long or too short for things to cool down? They say that rumors last 75 days, but that's a proverb from the past. Lately, fads had been amazingly fast to change. The catchwords of the moment will have been abandoned in a year. Some of the coined words that everyone uses in their netspeak die out in a matter of months. On a daily basis, TV shows seek out heroes and idols and villains, milk them dry, and throw them away. It was true of even the new gen cases. Now that six had occurred, people at Achen had pretty much stopped discussing the first one. Everything disappeared from people's memories in the blink of an eye. That's why I thought about how nice it'd be, like those sorts of hot topics, if, like the sorts of hot topics, the stir about me died down within a week. Wishful thinking, but I couldn't help wishing it. My head and stomach ached. I sat down on a usual bench and calmed my heart. Surely Seraton would say,
そんなに苦しむぐらいならもう学校になんか行くのやめればいいっしょ。
I'd started to think, just a little, that maybe I should. I'd heard that the worsening of public order had led to an increase in Shibuya students who voluntarily left school. I thought for a while now that if I didn't care much about not being able to graduate, that I didn't care much about not being able to graduate. As a matter of fact, I might as well leave school right now. Even so, I was going to school, despite shouldering a risk of encountering Yua. I finished drinking the Coke I bought from a vending machine along the way and got up from my bench. Stop fooling yourself. I didn't want to go to school, but I didn't want to quit either. Because if I quit school, I wouldn't be able to see Remy, who's looking extremely derpy at the moment. Now, because we were classmates, we would automatically meet as long as I went to school. But if I had lost that connection, of course, we could make phone calls or meet face to face. But those things required proactive behavior, and they certainly wouldn't happen automatically. It's totally automatic. No way to control it. And I definitely couldn't behave proactively. In fact, I hadn't seen Remy for a while now.
私が一緒にいてあげる。
Even though Remy had promised me so, I hadn't had any contact from her for over 10 days. When I imagined that maybe she'd seen me disgraced on TV and I'd fallen out of her good graces, it made me horribly frightened and sad and lonely. No one, not even Nanami, came to see me. I was slandered in massive online threads. I cowered in fear of Shogun and Yoa's shadows. Though I said I didn't want to meet with anyone, that solitude was agonizing. I wanted Remy to take a look at me. I wanted her to say, "It must have been hard on you," and hold me gently. When it got down to it, I was letting her spoil me. But it was her fault. Remy was the one who had taught me about three-dimensional warmth. After I'd known that warmth once, it made me want to reach for it again and again. I could no longer find peace in the second dimension or in delusions. I couldn't stand it just by immersing myself in daydreams. I want to see Remy. I didn't see any tremendous transformations when I passed through the school gates. Rather, no one noticed I was there. Once I entered the school building and climbed the stairs, an unfamiliar girl passed me, saying, "Ah," and looked at me with faith sympathy in her eyes. When I reached the hallway with my classroom in it, several of the windows there were broken. I sensed whispers and frank gazes from all around me. At that point, I had a bad premonition. My wishful thinking was on the verge of being ground to pieces. Yet all I wanted to do was meet Remy, so I opened the classroom door. The silence lasted for about 10 seconds. Everyone was watching me, and all of them had gone rigid. Looking down, I walked through the quiet classroom until I got to my seat. Taking that as his cue, a thuggish guy in the last row, I didn't know his name, became the first to raise his voice.
おい、西条、超能力見せてくんね。
Wow, what a fucking douche. The way he said it, god damn it. Oh, I can't take that shit. The single sentence set the classroom stopped time back in motion.
それ言ったらかわいそうじゃね。だって有利が認めた男なんだぜ。そうそう、俺テレビ見てたぜ。すげえよ、あのやらせ超能力者。
西条もどうせやらせなんでしょ。大きい人形と小さいお人形を抱えてただけだもんね。
やめとけって。西条は病気なだけだっつの。そっとしといてやれ。 だってあいつ空飛べるらしいじゃん。あとなんだっけ、投資。
私投資されたらどうしよう。服もスケスケで裸見られる。西条変態じ
お、やっべ、こっち見た。石にされる前に目をそらせ。大丈夫、実際のところただのキモートだから。
Sayaku, this blows. The situation I'd feared more than any other. The delinquents honing in on me and as their target. No one had forgotten the disturbance I'd caused in just a week. Right now, I was the punchline representing all of Japan. A boy who had passed out, cradling a figure, after making a big deal about having special paranormal powers. It wouldn't help if I asserted that I never claimed to have been an ESP. In truth, it no longer mattered what I did. The story known as the facts had spread throughout Japan, and however many 100,000 people had recognized it as fact, no one could take it back. Not anyone, not me, not TV stations, not Shogun. I was an all too embarrassing self-proclaimed ESPer. I was an all too repulsive otaku boy. There wasn't a single person who would look upon me favorably. I, who so hated TV programs that made a mockery of otaku, had tainted otaku culture like this. I couldn't use ESP or anything of the sort. I couldn't fly. I didn't have X-ray vision, nor did I have telekinesis. I hadn't been able to get my hands on a D-sword either. I was a piece of crap, incapable of rescuing my little sister with my own two hands. I was an otaku, plain and simple, with no skills aside from my knowledge of anime and games. There was no helping it. Trying to keep from having a mental breakdown, I looked around for deliverance, for Rimi. Then my eyes met Misumi-kun. Right away he... Douchebag! He averted his eyes like a total douche. Well, yeah. If he acted friendly with the likes of me, even Misumi-kun would be shunned by the rest of class. Yeah, that's right. It was only natural. In any case, a gross otaku like me and a pretty boy like him, we lived in different worlds. It was strange enough that we'd gotten along until now. Feeling the dread of crying to start to come on, I made my line of sight circle around, as though to cling to her. I searched for Rimi's form. But she wasn't there. Rimi wasn't there. Why? Was she taking a day off? At a time like this? Then I'd lost my only method of coming in contact with Rimi. If she never came to the classroom again, I'd probably never be reunited with her for the rest of my life. I had that feeling. It'd been the same when she first appeared. One day, out of the blue, Rimi had been in this class. And now, just as suddenly, she was gone. Maybe she'd gotten caught in the earthquake and died? I frantically tried to shake away such negative thoughts, but I couldn't do it. My mood sank lower and lower. Leaden illusions controlled my heart. Had a girl called Sakihata Rimi ever really existed in the first place? Maybe, like Serotan, she was nothing more than a personality I had created in my head. When I thought about it that way, a whole bunch of dots began to connect. Rimi always appeared to save me, as if by magic, when I most needed her. Rimi always treated me gently, despite being a filthy otaku. Did I think a 3D girl, so convenient to me and so ideal for me, truly existed? I no longer had any reason to come to school. My sole reason had disappeared. I was alone after all. I'd been alone from the start. I wept. Internally, I wept. I fought my hardest to keep from shedding real tears. It was the only semblance of pride I had left, though it was tiny and worthless pride. It was all I could do to sit at my desk, head hanging, gritting my teeth. Even if I wasn't listening, my classmates' voices entered my ears as they talked. I wanted to run away, but I was petrified by the thought that if I moved around foolishly, they'd take it as a reason to pick a fight with me. They should die, every one of them. It's not like I've got anything left to lose, so how about I end my life as it pleases me? For example, throwing my arms around one of the girls in the class while blurting some sort of lewd line one might hear in an arrow game. And if possible, jumping straight into some non-con play right there in the morning classroom, with everyone's eyes upon us. Becoming halfway defiant, I surveyed the classroom. Who'd make a good target? If I was gonna do it, might as well pick a cutie. Someone who didn't seem likely to resist much is gonna be Blondie, isn't it? Those delinquent harpies were out of the question. They were too much makeup for being in high school and weren't all that attractive. Oh yeah, the transfer student might have worked well. She looked docile, gave off a lolly aura that just kind of made you want to bully her. And if I remembered right, she was the clumsy type. That part of her was pretty boy. Two! In a certain sense, it put her rather close to 2D characters. She might be good. Hey, there we go. Delusion trigger. I slowly rose from my seat. The atmosphere around me changed. Those who had been taunting me before retreated a little upon seeing me suddenly move into action. You guys are all talk in the end. But I am different, man. I pull through things when things get down to the crunch. I'm gonna prove that to you now. I wordlessly headed for the transfer student's desk. She sat shrunken in her chair, facing down. God damn it! This one's for you, Matt. She looked up Dubois when she noticed me. For some reason, she already looked as if she were going to cry. I abruptly grabbed her slim upper arm. I pulled her toward me. She struggled weakly. Confused, or perhaps uncertain of what to do, she looked back and forth between me and those around us. What the fuck? I forcibly embraced her from behind. She was as remarkably thin as she looked, enough to make me think that she'd break straight away if I treated her violently, and she was trembling like a chihuahua. But she smelled nice. She was about a head shorter than me. I rubbed my face against her head. I buried my nose in her soft hair and sniffed its scent. What the fuck? She seemed too frightened to speak, although I'd never actually seen her talk before, kind of think of it. She twisted her body in an attempt to wriggle out of my grasp, but the strength she put into it was nothing to write home about. Even I, who normally performed no physical activity and had zero muscular bulk, was able to easily suppress her. The juvies around her had frozen in pace, unmoving, as if taken aback by my unconventional behavior. As the transfer student shook her head, I licked her earlobe. What? Her delicate body jolted. What a great reaction. I was getting more and more aroused. I was ready to go wherever my lust led me, without thinking of the consequences. First, some dirty talk. I'd make the timid transfer student use obscene words. So erotic.
Shinsukoって言え。
Shinsuko! What the fuck? Dude, how fucked up are you in your mind? Her face instantly went red. Tears welled in her eyes, and she shook her head more frantically than before.
レマンコって言え。栗とキリギリスって言え。
Her gestures of unwillingness incited me to further sadism. Public assault was pretty much the only choice left here. I'd reenact my favorite edgy scene from the Eroge Rape Academy Year 2, the honey class. I slowly set my hands from her breast to her stomach. You'd kind of think you'd go the other way around. Her body quivered. The energy with which she resisted was diminishing. So mortifying, but I'm feeling it! Or something like that. She had a cute face, but what a slut! Unable to hold back the laughter rising in me, I broke into a grin and thrusted my hand into her skirt. Wow, you're fucked up. Jesus Christ. Uh-oh. I immersed myself in such delusions while sitting at my desk, face lowered. Even now, the transfer student was writing indecorously in my head, lovely moans spilling from her mouth. Out of this world, dude. If my life were gonna end anyway, I'd like to finish things off by experiencing something that enjoyable. The more I thought about it, the more I felt driven by the urge to do it. Maybe the second I acted so recklessly, the world would reset by itself and my simulation of the choice that leads to an unhappy outcome would come to an end. And I'd return to the previous world. Remy would be there, just like she was supposed to. Mr. Minkin would come chat to me in his friendly way. Everyone would totally forget how I'd shamed myself. No one would mock me. I ought to try it. My mind went dazed. Maybe I had a small fever. The kind of fever you get during growth spurts? Or a delusion-induced fever? Not that such a phrase existed. Nah, whatever. I ought to try it. Even if I couldn't go back to the previous world, they'd only think I was crazy. No, they probably already thought so. I had nothing left to lose, so I didn't care either way. A week ago, when I heard from the nurse that none of me was alive, I thought, because none of me was alive, I didn't care about anything else. I didn't give a goddamn about my life. I wouldn't mind if they treated me like an oddball and carted me off to the hospital. It'd be nice if it were the same hospital as Ayase. Where was Ayase hospitalized anyway? The jail-esque hospital she'd been admitted to in the past? Even that would be fine. It'd be somewhat preferable to this school without Remy. I lost the ability to suppress my magma-like urges. I slowly arose from my seat. I couldn't prevent laughter from swelling in me. Everyone in the class regarded me with strained expressions. Don't look. There's no value in looking at someone like me. What? I heard.
Huh?
Is that the fucking lolly? A girl's voice? Oh no, that's Rumi. I mean, on top of that, such an anime voice. I forgot her name. Sarah? No, that's a different voice. Sarah would never say Damon. Who the hell was talking to me? I looked around the classroom one more time. Everyone had gone petrified, their mouths closed. In response to my suspicious behavior, I couldn't spot anyone who seemed to be speaking. For starters, this voice, it gave me a weird sensation, like it was resonating directly inside my head. An oral hallucination? Or had I created a new delusionary girl? Oh god. What the fuck just happened? She'd answered my thoughts. Has she read my mind? No, it must be imaginary. Oh god, it was her.
コズピーってなんだよ。ここってどこ？誰なの？
When I shouted, my classmates scooted away from me as though fleeing. The voice didn't answer my questions. It continued talking, using peculiar intonation.
むしろむしろ西条くんのことをひどく言うクラスのみんなの方が価値がないから
I went cold. I had goosebumps. This is what she said in a very bright and cheerful tone. No shit, it sounds awfully wrong.
いいと思うなら殺しても
What the fuck? You'll say. Hunched over in my seat, I held my head. The world didn't reset itself. I didn't return to the parallel world where Remy was. Whatever the case, it seemed like I'd gone completely cuckoo. No shit. Well, I think this ought to do it for a while. I'm actually going to Japan in about half a month. And I'll be gone for a shit ton of time. For a month and a half. Whoa! So yeah. This might be the final update to Chaos Head, depending on how much shit I have to do, because I have a shit ton of things to do. I'll see you guys next time. You might see me on someone else's channel. Someone else who's in Japan. What? Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. The rest of you who don't, booyah! You'll have to wait. Alright. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.